You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. And be sure to smash that like button. Brian Kelly met with reporters after practice on Wednesday. Gave an update on Zy Alexander. Of course, Zy Alexander started 8 games a year ago, was LSU's best cornerback, tore his ACL against Army. He's been a full go. He's fully practicing, but Brian Kelly's been earlier in camp, said it's just taking him time to round back into form. Here was an update on Wednesday.
Alexander, I think, is getting better by the day. I think it's just a matter of he just needs more reps and more confidence. Coming back off of an ACL at that position is probably, if not the most difficult, I think it's probably the most difficult position with, the change of direction, plant, drive, all those things. He's a different player than he was the first day out here. I think there's a lot more confidence. So he'll keep getting better.
I love to hear that. That he's better today than he was the first day of practice. Plant, drive, and a lot of it's just confidence on that leg. And I don't want to oversimplify this, but I do believe that LSU's best combo at cornerback is a healthy Zy Alexander, if he can revert to form, a healthy Zy Alexander and Ashton Stamps. And that would move Sage Ryan to safety. And for everyone that has been sort of, I don't want to say critical, but let's just face it, there's been fans that have been critical of Sage Ryan, I think unfairly. But it's worth mentioning that guy has played out of position. As a freshman, he had an injury he dealt with. He played nickel. Last year, out of necessity, he played boundary corner. Sage Ryan is a safety. He is a safety that's been asked to play nickel and corner, and he's done it because his team needed him to do it. And I admire that tremendously. But I think this defense is at its best when your two best cornerbacks are playing corner and a former 5-star safety is back playing safety. So if you can get Zy Alexander healthy, and maybe it's not for USC, maybe it's sometime in that first month where after SC, you've got Nichols and South Carolina and UCLA and South Alabama, and then an open date. Maybe by the time you get to Ole Miss, you are looking at Stamp, Zy Alexander, and then Jordan Gilbert, Sage Ryan at safety, which I think is at their best, I think that's your best look in the secondary if LSU can get to that point. And Jordan Allen's getting a ton of reps now with the one, so if you need him there, he's going to be more capable of doing that. So, from Zy Alexander to Ashton Stamps, Brian Kelly was asked about the progress Ashton Stamps has made so far in camp.
You ask any corner, they all want to play man. There's not a corner that wants to play, zone coverage. They think they're the best at that, and that's good, right? I mean, you want that kind of mentality. But defended balls, pass breakups, his numbers were best in camp. So, I think he feels comfortable being out there. He's moving well. He's pain-free. He had some nagging injuries last year. So I just think he feels confident out there. He's stronger. He's had a real good year in the weight room. And I think his confidence is high that he can play in the SEC against the very best because he goes against them every day.
Brian Kelly said that he got a report on his desk, and Ashton Stamps has been their best guy in coverage so far in fall camp. I think that maps to what we've seen and what we've talked about. I mean, Ashton Stamps and Sage Ryan have run first-team corner the entire camp, and Stamps has been really good. I told you, Stamps picked off Nussmeier at the goal line in a 2-minute drill. First day of practice, Stamps picked off Nussmeier when they double-covered Mason Taylor down the field in front of the left pylon. Stamps has had some really good plays. And he was pretty open that he played through injuries last year, and as a true freshman in the SEC, that was a baptism by fire. A healthy Ashton Stamps, a healthy Zy Alexander, kind of like that look, certainly more than what we saw LSU run out there a year ago. Now, cornerback is part of it. As a matter of fact, Brian Kelly was asked what he feels like he still needs to see from his cornerbacks at this point in fall camp.
We haven't put up a depth chart, really. We're rolling out different guys, and I think Corey's looking for the same thing that I'm looking for. Who's able to stack days together consistently? instead of, well, I had a good day today, but I didn't have such a good day yesterday. We just need to be more consistent. I think it's just this group now it's about, this is probably not a great analogy, but, we're getting close to like moving day, like in golf. Like these guys need to understand that over the next few days, this is where, we need to see who are those guys that can stack days together. And Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it's kind of moving day for us. We need to see those guys that are going to stack days together.
Big opportunities coming up for these LSU defensive backs here in the coming days. The offense has had a lot of good moments. Can the cornerbacks start to make some plays? Brian Kelly was also asked about safety as we kind of make our way through the defensive backfield, and my notes have been pretty clear on this. Jordan Gilbert looks the part. He's an SEC safety. He's been starting and playing since he stepped foot on campus at A&M. He's now into his fourth year of college football in the SEC. He's played a ton at safety. He is a dramatic upgrade over what you had a year ago, and I don't mean any disrespect to Andre Sam, but Jordan Gilbert is an SEC caliber safety, athletically, experience-wise, all of it. You're better there. And Brian Kelly talked about what has actually, he kind of talked about the communication with the safeties and candidly said that's exceeded his expectations.
I think we've done a pretty good job relative to the communication. That was going in something that we were concerned about. I think that's been a piece that I think has been really, from my end, a pleasant surprise. We've gotten good communication. We're not in a position where we feel like we're not getting the right calls and executing the right coverages, and obviously coverage fits back there. So that's good.
The thing that has dramatically reduced from a year ago, and it's undeniable, the thing that has dramatically reduced is you don't see guys running around with their hands in the air, pointing to other guys, with defenders, with offensive players running free in the secondary. And I think a big part of that has been Blake Baker, Corey Raymond, Jake Olson, dramatically simplifying what they're doing. I mean, they're running cover two. They're playing quarters. It's a much easier base package for them to run and understand, and then you can build upon it from there. One more from BK, so building on that, you feel good about where your corners are developing, although it's moving day. The safeties' communication has been good. So what's the next step for these safeties?
We've got to continue to stress them in tackling. That's really going to be a big piece for us, is can we erase some mistakes up front? And when we say mistakes up front, if we cut a gap loose, if there's an issue up front relative to a run fit, can those safeties erase for us? And we're not there yet. We need to continue to evaluate that. We've got a young group that we're trying to get as many reps back there as well with the veteran guys out there, Jordan and Jordan. Those guys are doing a really nice job, but we got to continue to get the young guys some reps as well. That will be the next stage for us in the development of the safeties.
Yeah, Deshaun Spears is in that number, and Kylan Jackson are the next two safeties that we're seeing. So you have a sophomore and a true freshman playing back there as your twos. So yes, you got to get some of those young guys up. But I think it's also important to note, based on what Brian Kelly said there, I didn't interpret that as, when he said, we got to get the guys tackling, I didn't interpret that as they're doing poorly. I interpreted that as you got to make sure that that is a consistent part of this defense, because just quite frankly, you have questions on the defensive line, especially on the interior. So if a team pops a run, your safeties are your last line of defense, you got to be able to make the tackle. The hard part of that is Blake Baker said it this week when he met with reporters on Saturday. They only got 4 tackling days built into camp. 4 days where they're full tackle to the ground in camp. When you only have 4 days where you're going full tackle to the ground, it's hard to improve tackling when you're not tackling. Probably something we'll have to see how it develops actually on the field September 1st against USC. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.